I see the leaves shivering and blowing around, and it's scaring me. So I turned over, and I could see the shadows of the leaves on the wall, and that scared me. And then I could have imagined it or dreamt it, I don't know. But I imagined that the leaves were turning into faces and coming towards me. I was literally very scared that night. People that have touched me or been associated with me have become successful. I haven't yet, touch wood, but I'm on the road. But people that associated with me have definitely become successful.
So you give luck to people?
I give luck to people. I'd be laying in bed after the miscarriage, and I'd see them sitting on top of my bedroom door, and they'd say to me, "You threw us away. You threw us away."
From the horse's mouth is an outlet for people to share their unbelievable stories. Things that you can classify as supernatural. Today we have Rasham here. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Coming to share your stories with us. And before we get into your stories, I'd like you to please tell me about your background.
Well, I was born in India. My dad's immigration papers came through while my mum was pregnant, and so from that day, actually, I was told I was always lucky for other people, because me being conceived, my dad came to UK, and I was born like 4 or 5 months after he left. And then I came to UK at the age of about 4 plus. So that's the first time he saw me. And actually, my name, I wasn't born with this name because in those days there was no phones, only telegraphs or letters. And letters used to take about 2 or 3 weeks. So they never even asked what my name was. And in the letters, they started calling me Goody, which means baby girl. And it stuck as my nickname.
Goody?
Goody, yeah.
Oh.
Means baby girl in Punjabi. And Dad never bothered to ask my name, and when the petition came around, he just didn't have time to write a letter. He just wrote, my original name was Jaswinder, my birth name. So he wrote Resham on the petition.
And you just...
I was Resham but no, even then, I was never called my name, except for in school, because people got used to it. My aunts, uncles, everybody called me Goody.
Wow.
Yeah. So anyway, we came in '69, and it was I don't know. Well, you're obviously too young, but '69 was a very, very dull period. It was like, well, you can tell from these old films and stuff. There was not many. We didn't have any of these modern cons and high techs. We just had black and white TV at the time, and I remember. And I remember growing up, and then people couldn't even buy TVs. They used to rent them. So we rented TV for I think £7 a month or something.
Oh.
And it was black and white, and then we bought a TV for color in color, bought a color TV. And we grew up, my dad was actually a communist. So although I was born into a Sikh family, we never really practiced it. Mom would tell us stories, but her stories were mixed with Hinduism stories and Sikhism, so you couldn't tell which is which. But I learned a lot from my mom, and she was illiterate. She'd never been to school, but she was a great mom, great housekeeper. I learned cooking from her. I learned a lot from her. And she used to tell us stories verbally, and I grew up learning. I became very interested in religion, and even Dad didn't practice Sikhism. We'd still go to Gurdwara at weddings, etc. He never wore a pagri, like a turban.
Which one do you currently practice?
I'm at the point where I go to everywhere. I go to church when I can. I go to Gurdwara. I haven't been to mosque yet, but I've been to the mandir a few times, the Hindu mandir. And I go to Mormon church, I go to Christian churches. I go
So
anywhere.
you just pick and choose from each of them, or do you like follow it wholly?
I believe I've got my own unique theories, if you like. I believe every religion is good because let's face it, they all have peace, love, charity, the basics for any religion. It's that, and they all have it. But I believe that the different religions, if you look at the history of religion, they all started at a different period in time. So I believe that God actually sent all of these people down according to the time, the people of that time and that place. So he sent down Muhammad in that religion, that look that they had in that area. According to, he gave them teachings according to their environment. So I think God sent messengers. I mean, none of these were gods, but there's messengers sent by God deliberately at different times of.
How about, like, you don't think culture also, like, he sent like different messengers to different cultures? You don't think that? Or you just think it's based on
different according
eras?
To the culture, he would send somebody according to our gurus, the Sikh gurus. They wear the turbans, and eventually Sikhism is all about you have to wear a turban and the beard and the gara and the 5Ks, So, the gurus started the Sikhism in India, and there was a succession of 10, and the 11th one is now, we think of the holy book as the living guru. So anytime you have a problem, we open the book at random, and it will answer your questions. So think of it as a living guru.
That's similar to what they call Babalawo. So Babalawo is like an African priest. So it's not like they open a book or anything, but I don't know if it's cowries or shells. They shake it and throw it. So whatever it says or whatever number it shows, they open the chapters, and whatever it says, it's like as above, so below. So it mirrors what's happening in the higher realm, and it's sending a message. So that's interesting that you say that.
Yeah, you're right. It is very similar.
Yeah, but in terms of like practicing all of these different religions at the same time, does it ever get to a point where you feel like it's conflicting for you?
Not really, because each event, I mean, if they conflict, it depends on the severity, or that's the wrong word, but how eventful those two events are. Like, for example, there might be a get-together in church, a normal church service, and a munch and mingle afterwards. But on the other hand, there might be, just recently there was a Nagar Kirtan, like a street procession in Southall for Sikhs, the beginning of Sikhism. So that was, obviously that's once a year, so that was more important. So it depends on the event at the time.
So you shared a few stories with me. Is it okay to like share some of those stories and just let us know?
Yeah, it's actually scary now when I think about it, that all my life I've had these experiences and I'd never realized I was having them until first time I experienced it was when I was just after I got married, and I had dreamt that just a few weeks after I got married, and I dreamt that somebody was burning my dad's clothes in the yard, in the garden. So I woke up, and my in-laws were very, very strict. I wasn't allowed to phone my parents.
Your in-laws?
I had to get permission. So my mother-in-law called my mom, and then my brother took over, and he told us that Dad was having a heart attack. He had a heart attack that night. The very moment I was dreaming it, he was having a heart attack. And that's kind of, and even then I didn't realize it at the time, but then later on when I had other experiences, I realized, well, yes, this happened before when my dad he had this heart attack, and I remember dreaming about it. It was scary. So not incidents that happened in my dream, but the related. And then later on, I was pregnant and I had nightmares twice. And in one dream, I was eating the flesh of a baby. In another one, I was being operated on, but I was awake. And then the third one, I was playing with a baby girl. So apparently, I was going to miscarry. Those two nightmares that I had, those are two twins that I was going to abort, miscarry. So I had twins that I miscarried in February of 76. I miscarried twins.
So these two experiences, did it happen like within a short period, or it was like
within
time apart?
Within the same year.
Wow.
Yeah.
So what was your reaction? So the first one, did you lose your dad from that?
The first one I didn't really take much notice.
It was the
it's
second
only the
one.
second and third time that I thought back. I thought, oh wow, this happened before as well.
What was like going on in your head, knowing that, oh, this is happening again?
Well, after my miscarriage, then I started seeing, I'd be laying in bed and I'd see my babies were, because they were twins, I lost one 3 months prior to the second one. So, I lost them together, but the one had died 3 months before the miscarriage. But because they didn't have scans in those days, they'd just come around with their stethoscope and they could hear the beating of the one baby. So they thought I was fine. Didn't realize I had twins in me. So when I was 5 months, so when I lost my babies, I was 5 months, but the babies were only 3 months. They'd stopped growing, both of them. So the first one was dead, but I was waiting for the second one because they couldn't come out one by one. They had to come out together. So it was a horrible, horrible experience, horrible miscarriage. But after that, and because they were 3 months, so it's difficult to say were they 3 months or were they 5 months, But their skin, that was about this big, and their skin hadn't formed, so you could almost see inside. Through the skin, it was almost transparent, and they were like kind of a tan brown color, a bit darker than your hat. And I'd be laying in bed after the miscarriage, and I'd see them sitting on top of my bedroom door, and they'd say to me, "You threw us away. You threw us away." I had thrown them away, so that scared me. And I mentioned it to my husband's grandmother, and she really, I didn't understand the way she took it. She didn't seem shocked or surprised or not even doubtful. She just took it as a matter of fact and just, well, you should have told them it wasn't me, I threw you away. It was nature. That's what she said. So, very matter of fact.
So they manifested physically, you could see the kids physically talking to you.
Yeah.
It wasn't like a dream or anything.
No,
it was in real life.
I was awake. I'd be awake. I hadn't gone to sleep yet. And it was more than once that happened. It happened frequently for the first, I think until I got pregnant again, it continued. It was
so
scary.
Sorry about that. I'm sure it's still
it's
as
years
fresh.
ago,
but I mean, from how you're describing it.
Yeah, it was horrible. It was horrible. Especially with the family I lived with. They were really, really old-fashioned Orthodox, and I had to do all the housework. It doesn't matter. I was 9 months pregnant or whatever. I wasn't allowed to vacuum. because of the use of electricity. I had to take a little brush and spade, sweep from a three-story house, top to bottom, I had to sweep on my hands and knees. So that's the way it was.
See that experience. How did that like affect? Do you think that kind of like propelled you to go and look for some sort of explanation from all these different religions? Because you did mention that you've touched on like different
Not at
religions.
that point, and I've never really questioned any particular religion about it. I just took it in my stride that it's nature. It's God telling me things that maybe when I have these premonition dreams that I need to be aware of something. So I am more aware of it now than I was before when I was having these things. But I still have dreams, not as severe, not as vivid, but I still have dreams, and I still. One time, it wasn't even a dream. We had just emigrated to America, and my oldest brother didn't talk to us very much. Only saw him at parties and weddings and stuff. And I was working. I think I was working day shift. I was nursing. No, it was afternoon. It was 2 to 10 shift in the afternoon. So I came home from my shift, and the next morning, the family, my husband is the eldest of 3, and he has 1 sister. And at that point, there was no father. So they called me to the living room, and my brother-in-law, my middle one, when's the last time you heard from your brother? Mentioning my oldest brother that hardly talked to us. Just, I last saw him on my wedding, I think. Haven't seen him since. Maybe, yes, he did. He came to visit me once, but that's it. During my wedding, during my life with my husband. And he says, well, because he was trying to soften the blow, even though we weren't on good terms. He says, well, your other brother, Jagdad, called, and your Baji brother he fell sick. And he had a heart attack, and he passed away. So I was like, really. My husband's family was such, nobody came to hug me or console me, and that hurt more. There was no one for me to no shoulder to cry on. Not even my husband. He wasn't allowed. But it's okay. But before he died, I have to rewind. That night before, I was laying in bed, and my husband was doing night shift. So I was laying in bed, and we had just moved there from here, so we still didn't have curtains on the windows. So I'm laying in bed, and there's a window here, no curtains, a tree outside, and it was really windy. America has a lot of hurricanes and all that, yeah. And it was really windy. Trees were blowing, and I see the leaves shivering and blowing around, and it's scaring me. So I turned over, and I could see the shadows of the leaves on the wall, and that scared me. And then I could have imagined it or dreamt it, I don't know. But I imagined that the leaves were turning into faces and coming towards me. I was literally very scared that night, and I know now, but at the time...
Was it a familiar face?
No, just faces.
Just, okay.
Yeah, but I was really scared, and I'm not a scary, I don't scare easy. I love watching horror films. Nothing scares me. And it just really scared me. I had a really hard time getting to sleep. And then the next morning, I got the news about my brother.
Wow.
So, like I said, it's not the actual event I dream, but something.
So from that point where this was the third dream. third time it had happened?
That was a few times after my miscarriage.
Okay, so from all this while you've had this experience, up until say now,
Yeah.
if you have that sort of dream, if you have
Now
that, do you know how to like avert it from happening, or
I don't really worry about it, to be honest.
you don't?
I
Okay.
actually know now that if I do have a dream, 'cause, you know, you dream in the last 10 minutes before you wake up.
Mm.
It doesn't matter what time you're going to wake up, but you dream those 10 minutes before you wake up. So when I'm kind of half asleep, half awake, and I try and remember that dream, because I'm also a writer, so I use my dreams to write stories. So I try to remember my dream to see if there's anything I should avoid or do about it to avoid, if it's a bad dream, to avoid it happening.
Mm-hmm.
Or I try to analyze it to see what it could mean that I could implement in my daily life, avoid something or do something in a certain way. So I'm at that point now. I'm more aware that I might have a dream and, you know, just keep connected with it.
That's really insightful. That's interesting. Have you had any other experience that kind of like scared you?
Well, similar to when my brother died, I was working in one place. It was a 45-minute drive from one city to another in America, which is common over there. And I'm driving from one city to another, and then in between each city, not like here, there's always green, there's always countryside, because America is huge. So I'm driving along this freeway, and there's trucks, there's cars, there's buses, there's lots of traffic, because it's early in the morning, work time. And I work in the mall, a big mall, and I'm thinking, I'm driving to work, and there's all these people around me, there's cars and everything, but why do I feel so alone? I just feel lonely and alone. I'm all alone in the world at the moment. That's how I felt. And I went to work. I went into my office. There was an office in the mall that we worked in. And I literally sat down and I just burst into tears for I don't know what reason. And then I did my work, I came home, got a call from my cousin's wife in America, because rewind, in 92, I divorced my first husband, and then I'd remarried in 94. And so I was with my second husband then. And because of my divorce, my parents had disowned me. So all my cousins, all my sisters, and nobody talks to me.
For real?
Yeah, for real.
They divorced you. They disowned you because
Because
I
I
got a
divorced.
divorce. This was in America.
Yeah, I divorced him in America. All my family is here in UK. So they had divorced me, so nobody had my contact details. So probably my sister-in-law, cousin-in-law in America found me and called me up and chatted, and then she told me that my mum had passed away.
Wow.
That's why I was feeling lonely. So again, it didn't tell me that my mum was dying, but it gave me that feeling, that intuition. So I've had many experiences like that.
Where you just know things.
But now I take advantage. Like I said, I'm a writer.
Yeah.
So one story I'm writing is I had this dream where I'm knocking on the door and it's pouring with rain and there's a car of people looking for me, and I just go into this random house because the door's open, and that's the end of my dream. But I've started that as a story, so I won't go into it anymore. But that's the beginning of a story.
All the dreams you've had over these years, like, has it helped you to, because some dreams, like what you just said, some dreams are like really vague. All these dreams you've had over time, has it like helped you to understand and interpret dreams better?
Now, presently, yes. Like I said, I try to analyze them, If I can't analyze, I use them for my stories. So I look at the positive rather than the negative.
That makes a lot of sense.
Because what's going to happen, even if the dream is trying to tell me to, like I said earlier, that to analyze it and try and avoid something or do something in a certain way, I don't really do that because it's hard to analyze it. It's hard to know from a vague dream what they're trying to tell me. So rather than that, I look at it in a positive way. What can I use from this dream to write a really good story?
But some people even go as far as looking for like an interpreter, so what you call like a psychic or a medium, or like somebody that has that spiritual.
I do I wouldn't say I'm a psychic on demand per se. I have had dreams related to other people, like my brother, my mom, and my neighbor down the road. So, but it's not on demand. So if I happen to have a dream and I hear something that happened later on that's vaguely connected to my dream, then it will click.
Do you tell them that, oh, there's a dream you had? Do you ever share it with people you've had about dreams about?
Not really, because I haven't had that experience. I mean, my in-laws are very negative people. They never ever believed anything I said, anything. So had I told them that I dreamt this lady is going to have a girl, they wouldn't have believed me.
Has it ever come to bite anyone in the back? Like, so you telling someone, like maybe as a warning, and they don't believe you?
No.
It has never happened.
Never had that chance. No. Going back to when I was born, my grandma said that this girl is going to be lucky. They use a word in our language, Pagawali.
Pangawali.
Pagawali.
Pagawali.
Wali is the one. Paga means luck. So she's lucky, but not for myself, for other people. So anyone, people that have touched me or been associated with me have become successful. I haven't yet, touch wood, but I'm on the road. But people that associated with me have definitely become successful.
So you give luck to people?
I give luck to people. After I got married, my husband's maternal and paternal aunts both had 2 girls. Wow. And they both had a boy after my marriage.
Wow.
And then one family I was living with after my divorce, she had a girl and a boy, and then she was pregnant and she had a boy. Then another lady that in our neighborhood that was her close friend, she had a girl. No, she had a girl, and she was pregnant and she was in labor. I took her to the hospital, and her doctor was Muslim, and she wasn't on duty. They called her, just, oh, I'm on a fast, I can't come. And we didn't understand that. You're a doctor. When you're a doctor, your oath is above everything else. In my book it is anyway. So she didn't come, so I was nursing at the time anyway, but not on that day. And so I had to help deliver her baby. It was a boy. And she was so chuffed that she gave me a gold chain.
Wow.
So I had to deliver, well, I guess because of the connection. But yeah, I've been lucky for people.
So with these experiences, do you think you can say there's a life beyond us?
I absolutely, definitely believe it.
100%.
I wouldn't want to say in what form. I mean, there could be a zillion forms.
Yes, that's true.
Could be many different forms. We could, I'm not sure if it's Hinduism or Sikhism, but they say that a person lives to 84,000 lifetimes before they can become an angel.
Is that
or before they
transcend?
I think it's Hinduism. Not an angel. You have to live seven consecutive human lives perfectly to become an angel. But to do that, you have to go to 84,100,000 lives to become a human again.
Wow.
So, and that's not really that, it sounds like a lot, but it's not, because if you think certain insects only have a few hours of lifetime, some insects only have a week or a few months, some animals only have a less than our lifetime. Some are, I think goats or sheep, they have like 5 or 6 years or something like that. So that's possible. I believe it's possible. I wouldn't knock any religious thinking of any kind, because
You don't know.
there's usually a scientific reason behind each religious thought as well. For example, yeah, sorry.
Do you think it needs science?
Do I?
Do you think religion needs science to
Well, I think it intermingles without people realizing it. I think so. That's my belief. That, I mean, science is science, and science is, you're not going to experience science just by acknowledging it. It's still there.
Yeah.
Even whether you know it or not, it's still there. That light there, that's science. And if you didn't know how to put a light on, doesn't mean the light's not going to come on. So science is around us. It always has been. But we just got to know it over hundreds of years of time. So yes, science and religion are connected.
Work together. Your premonitions. Have you had like one that I would say is maybe slightly about yourself, not about other people, that is like slightly like more positive? So you see something good happening and it manifests.
I see myself in a few times. I've seen myself like very vaguely, but in high positions. I might be leading a meeting in a boardroom or something, or I might be receiving a prize on the stage for something, some cinematic prize. I've seen vague but positive experiences concerning myself, and I do believe I'm getting there.
Of course.
Yeah.
Of course. That's the one thing you believe in.
I believe in religion, like I said earlier. They're all good. They all have their good points. So I believe in them all. They're all good. They got brought down certain periods of time according to that area and that culture. So I believe in them all. I don't preach and I don't practice any of them in that way. Like, for example, Sikhism and Hindu, well, all of them, they have to pray at certain times. Muslims have to pray 5 times a day. Sikhs have to pray morning, evening, and afternoon and evening. And they have to bathe every morning before they can pray. So I don't go out way. Nothing against it. It's just not me. Maybe it's my lifestyle. I'm too busy, and these sound like excuses, but it's just not me.
So when you say you like picked from all these different religions, when you say you've is it practiced? Did you say practice?
Yeah, I don't practice.
Not practice, but you've like.
I don't practice religiously.
Yeah.
I do practice in a way that I will go to the Gurdwara, I will go to the Hindu mandir, I will go to any events that are related to the religion. But I don't practice as in Sikhism. You get up early, 2, 3 a.m., take a bath, do the prayer before you eat. I don't do all that. I don't cover my hair necessarily, only when I go to the Gurdwara. I wear the kara, but that's it. I drink wine, I eat meat, so I believe in God, but I don't practice any of the religions religiously to the letter, as they say.
Yeah, I get what you mean. I feel like it's so easy to fall into like what some people classify as being a fanatic? 'Cause
I'm
if-
not a fanatic.
No, I'm not saying
Yeah.
you are. I'm just saying like
I'm
it's
the
so
opposite.
easy to
Yeah, I
be
mean,
that.
I would say I'm the opposite,
Opposite
to
of
an
a fanatic,
atheist.
exactly. Yeah.
I'm the opposite to an atheist. Atheists don't believe in a religion.
You believe in
I
everything.
in all of them.
There was someone I spoke to that said it's either all the religions are good, it's either they're evil, that there's no in between. So if you think they're all good, if you think one is good, and that means you think they're all evil. So it's either you believe they're all good or
No,
they're all
I believe they're all good.
yeah.
Yeah.
So